Yeah, I think we are live. Hello.
Yep.
Hi, ma'am. I think we are live.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. So, can everyone hear me? I think they can hear me. Okay, cool. So, good evening, everyone. Today we have with us Professor Deepa Dixit. So, she has been a regular in our channel, advising students on their profile building and preparation for CAT and other MBA examinations. So, Professor Deepa Dixit has a PhD from University of Mumbai, and she did her PhD in the area of impact and effects of changes in consumer behavior driven by social media. So, she has 18 years of teaching experience and 4 years of industry experience in product and brand manager, and this was across sectors such as entertainment and home decor. She is a subject expert, and she teaches marketing, communication, consumer behavior, social media, and digital marketing. And her research interest lies in consumer behavior, social media, millennials, and I think these are like very important topics for us also, right? And she has international case studies to her credit, although the game just got bigger, and she won second prize internationally and is accepted among the top 10 cases from India as part of the giving voice to the values. And the same was published in by GBB, Babson College, and United Nations Global Compact, PRME, Principle for Responsible Management Education. She also has been nominated to Linnaeus Palme Scholarship for Faculty Exchange at Malardalen University, Sweden. Thank you, ma'am, for being on our channel, and I hope our students will be able to benefit from your experience. And let's get started.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Srikanth, for having me.
Sure, ma'am. So for a starter, so I think today we will have the session on like what to do after CAT, right? So for most of the students, the CAT didn't go well. That's what the general consensus has been. So at this point of time, I think the students can actually use advice from experienced faculty like you on what exactly they can do to post CAT, and maybe you can share some tips on that.
Okay. If it helps lightening up the mood a little bit, I was just reminded of that scene in Three Idiots, the movie, where the two boys who don't do well, they are upset. But what really is more upsetting is when your colleague does best or tops. So the good side of this whole story is everybody's had a tough time with this year's CAT. So we are all in the same boat. All of you are in the same boat, and it's done and dusted. Uh, so whatever the outcome is going to be, it's not going to change the percentiles so much, because anyway it's going to be the top 20-30% students who are going to have to make choices when you're looking at a good business school. Yes, it might be an overall low scoring kind of a scenario where the difference between like I'd like to put it, the good, bad and ugly may be a little difficult to say, but I think this is also an opportunity if you just turn it around. Given that it was tough for everybody, you look at a school and there is no school, including the IIMs, who rely only on your CAT score or your percentile for admissions to the business school. So in a school like Welingkar, just about 35% weightage is what is going to be given to the entrance. The rest, all of it goes to other parameters. You look at IIM Bangalore also, I think in the second stage, once you are shortlisted, just about 25% or something weightage is given to your CAT. So I think now you need to come out of that zone. And a game which is over, well played or however played, is done with. Now what next is what you have to look at. And that's what I'm going to, strongly advise. Go and look at the applications of good institutions which you want to apply. And actually, this is the best time to do that. Before your CAT results or the predictive answers and all these things start coming up, I think you would have by now gauged what kind of a score you're going to get into. And I'm sure Shrikant or your other mentors will tell you that, look, if this is the kind of score you have, you're likely to be, or this is how you're performed, you're likely to get this kind of a score. So assume that you're going to get a certain percentile, and look at institutions, and look at those institutions which have a good reliance on overall personality evaluation. Students who are really good academic kinds, in the sense academically great, those students, they might have really prepared well, and this CAT may have shocked them. But then they can rely on their academic performance in their 10th, 12th, graduation, in their past years, to bail them off, because an institution is going to look at these kind of things as well. So don't look only at what has happened, look ahead and look at what are the parameters which you have an opportunity to excel in, and start your preparation in that direction. That's what I would recommend, Shrikant.
Thank you, ma'am, for those words. Right, and we have a question here. Siddharth is asking, what's the cutoff for Welingkar Mumbai?
It'll be 80 percentile most likely.
Okay. And are there any other cutoff like 10th, 12th, or work experience based cutoffs?
No, there are no cutoffs. Okay, we don't have sectoral cutoffs, neither sectional cutoffs. Neither do we have 10th, 12th graduation cutoffs as such. The basic eligibility condition by ICT is 50%, so you're open to apply. Of course, there will be points for good academic performance. One other thing I want to say is, at Welingkar, we have 3 groups of programs, and we put differential cutoffs for different programs. So Welingkar by PGDM, e-business, and research and business analytics will have 80. Retail, business design, and media and entertainment might be slightly lesser than that. And rural and healthcare, we normally keep a cutoff of 70 percentile, because we know there is a huge diversity in the type of students who take this CAT exam. They come from agribusiness or healthcare backgrounds. And this is just an indicator of their aptitude, and not really the only thing that we're looking for in that program. And we'll put this out. Once the CAT results are out, even we'll get an idea. But I can tell you ballpark, it will be 80. And for the other programs, about 70, 75.
Okay. So you have mentioned different programs for Welingkar, right? So what different programs does Welingkar offer, and like what exactly is different academically in those programs?
So overall, there are 8 programs that Welingkar offers. One is the one which is based in Mumbai. There are 4 programs which are common to Mumbai and Bangalore: the PGDM, e-business, research and business analytics, and business design and business design innovation, is what we call it in Bangalore. So for these 4 programs, in PGDM, e-business, and RBA, as we like to call it, research and business analytics, you will have specializations in marketing, finance, operations, and HR. The kind of people who should look, this year I would recommend, I don't know how many engineers have taken the CAT this year, but if you're an engineer and you're more technology oriented, and a lot of, irrespective of whatever sector today, technology is a part of it. But if you're somebody who is happy working with technology, if you're somebody who's not afraid of technology, and if you're somebody who loves to work with technology, and if you're an engineer, then I would strongly recommend that you look at an e-business or a research and business analytics program, because both these offer extremely good opportunities for students with an engineering background, especially because it just gels into future opportunities which can make use of their background as such. If you're a student who loves to, wants to be in the consumer behavior space, or likes marketing, or looks at, retail or digital marketing, those kind of areas, then while the PGDM core is there, I would say you should also look at media, entertainment, and retail as a program that you may want to look into, because they have huge scope for people with a liking in that space. Of course, there's operations. Retail also has got retail operations, retail finance, retail HR. But as a sector, there is a huge consumer-facing space. So if you're that kind of a personality, then these are the programs that you should look for. Business design and innovation is something that is meant for people with all backgrounds, really. Engineers, people from NID have also applied to Welingkar in the past. And we feel there is a lot of synergy of those students. Not NID, sorry, NIFT. Because this is not about really aesthetics, but I think the sensibility of design as a thought process, wherein you look from a consumer perspective. So consulting companies, companies which have an innovation, an innovation department, so to say, or an innovation approach to business, they look at business design students, a holistic approach. So if you are a person who is willing to dabble in, you can deal with a general management kind of a program, but makes business sense across sectors, whether it's consulting, auto companies, or even finance based companies, then you can look at the business design and innovation program. The other four programs that we have, one is in rural management. So in the rural management program, Shrikant, we've had students from the agribusiness management background, and we've also had students who have wanted to work in the government space. So I've seen a lot of people who are giving their UPSC exam also look at this program very positively, because they have an understanding of economics, they have an understanding of India as a nation, how it is operating at the bottom of the pyramid, at the in the rural parts of India, in the agri space part of India. And when you combine that with business education, there is a lot of value to what they can bring to the table. So we have seen banks recruiting them, consulting firms looking at them very positively. Also FMCG brands which may want to make inroads into different spaces. So this is a program, again, I would say it's closest to the PGDM core, because while it may not offer you specializations like the PGDM core, it offers you an overall perspective to all these areas, which is finance, marketing, and operations. And we've had a lot of acceptance for this program across brands. Healthcare management is more specific. We are looking at people who have a background in sciences, doctors, dentists, uh, the kinds. And combined with management, they either work for a pharma company, or they're looking at companies which provide solutions, instrumentation solutions, healthcare companies, wellness companies, a whole lot of these. And I think media and entertainment is, like the name says, it is about the entire diaspora, like from your television to OTT to theater to everything digital. And we have seen that even a company with a finance company or an IT company which wants to create content for a particular sector or segment that they want to address, looks for brand managers from the media and entertainment program as well, or people who know how to use the digital space. So these are the 8 different programs. And if I were to, in this current scenario, where people are a little, in a thinking mode after a tough CAT exam, I think what Welingkar offers is a range of different types of programs, and we have an intake of 720 in Mumbai and 270 in Bangalore. So there's a good width of intake. So if you were to place your bets and you want to be in a good business school where the packages are pretty good and ROI is competitive, then I would encourage you to apply to Welingkar, because then you have multiple options. And I'm not just saying this because I'm from Welingkar. Logically, the decision making can then be in your hand. You will have the option to pick and choose.
Thank you, ma'am. So coming back to the topic, right? So right now CAT is done, but there are exams which are happening in the next 1 to 2 months, right? You have ZAT coming up, then we have CMAT.
Correct.
TISNET is not happening, but we have maybe MSET, which will be happening in the later of the year, right? So how exactly can students come out of the zone of CAT preparation and then buckle up and then prepare for those examinations?
So, okay, I also like cricket. So I'm going to, maybe, I think all of us are probably, after the CAT exam, the feeling of after the World Cup and after the CAT exam is almost the same.
Correct.
So if you were to go back and analyze a little bit what went wrong with the Indian team, I think most of us would agree it was the temperament that changed everything. We buckled in, and it's not that we did not have the talent or we did not know how to play the game, but I think we just buckled in. And that is the same situation that most of us are in after, after CAT. So now either you can decide to buckle in and, give up and waste your time brooding over it. Or you say, okay, I mean, match over. And then we had this 2020 series between India and Australia, and at least the first 2 matches we won. So you have to come out of that zone. And the only thing that will help you do that is figure out, come to terms with the fact that you can't go back and do anything about CAT. So this is not like we are writing an obituary, but we have to look at what next. So the closest exam to this, and I think ZAT has extended the deadline to December 10th for applying today. So I think you have a great opportunity to go to XAT. A lot of people feel that XAT is a tougher exam and all of that. But I think if you've, after this CAT, I think it should be something you should be able to deal with if you're somebody who has really put in effort throughout the year to study, to get through these entrance exams. And the next exam, I think, would be CMAT, which you can look at, which is by AICT, and that also has enough time. So that usually will come out maybe, in February or March, hopefully. By the time your CAT and ZAT results are going to be out, so you would really know where you are. So a good strategy would be just stay in touch with your, study material so that you're not completely off time-based tests as such. Most important is just get your, get your mood out of that, this is done with, and move on to XAT and move on to CMAT. And these are options that you should seriously take. A lot of students just, throw in the towel and say this year is all gone. Even if you're planning to take the CAT again next year, my recommendation is still give the XAT and the CMAT this year, because I think it will help you boost your confidence back. Yeah.
I think there is still opportunity to apply for those examinations, right? So
yes, that's the best part. I think today was actually yesterday or today was the last day for XAT, but today I saw they have extended it to 10th of December. So go for it.
Yeah, the date got extended. So
yeah, and the test is on 7th of January. So you have a month to, kind of revise and get into the testing zone once more.
Correct, ma'am. So speaking of exams, right? So what all exams does Welingkar accept, or the score of what all exams does Welingkar accept?
So we take CAT, we take XAT, we also accept GMAT, we take CMAT, and we take a couple of ATMA exams which will happen. These 5 we take.
Okay. So these exams are applicable for all the programs, or they are, let's say, GMAT,
all the PGDM programs. All the PGDM programs, they are applicable for. Okay. Yeah. We don't take Maharashtra CET for the PGDM exams.
Okay. So there is a question, right? So is there any reservation for PWDs? Right? Shilpa is asking, is there any reservation for PWDs in Welingkar?
No. Not in the PGDM program. There's no reservation separately as such. And even if you, but when you're applying, we do ask, we have a tuition fee waiver scheme, which is the TFWS. That is 5% of the of every program, only 5%. So if you have 60 seats, it will be 3 seats, which is beyond the 60. where the tuition fees is completely waived off.
Okay.
And we have admitted students in that. And there are conditions for that. Your level of income, family income, and you have to have a proof of that, and it's not income tax returns. It is the tahsildar, etc., that you have to produce, which is about 8 lakh annual income. So that's something that we do. We offer scholarships also for students. But we don't, anybody in this, category which you mentioned, when they are applying, they have to let us know that they fall into that or they have this particular requirement. Because should they get an admission on their merit, then we want to make sure that we have all the resources to provide whatever support they require.
Great, man. So you, so as per my understanding, so there are no reservations in Welingkar, but are there any?
No, I don't think anybody else also, private institutions.
Okay. So are there any weightages, let's say for any category, let's say for any academic profile or any such weightages given to?
So there are weightages for. So there are weightages in for your performance in 10th, 12th, and graduation, and there is also weightage given for consistency in academics. So across, because that is also becoming a very important point for corporates when they are recruiting. They are looking at your overall academic journey. So we do give weightage for that. This year the weightage for that is 20%. And then we are also there's a the weightage for GD and PI is going to be 40%. Okay. And there will be 5% weightage given for if you have won at different levels in sports, or you started your own business, something which is outstanding. So the application form captures all of this, and there's 5% weightage for that as well.
Okay. So there is nothing specific, let's say for art, science, engineering versus non-engineering type of weightage?
No, we have not given any particular weightage for that. Largely because I'll tell you, we at Welingkar, we also don't have any weightage for gender diversity. Okay. Because if you look at the gender diversity in Welingkar, it is 1:1.3. For every one female, there is 1.3 male. So it's almost equal, both in Mumbai and Bangalore campus. So we don't have to give any marks for boosting our gender diversity. And frankly, I also believe that you need a level playing ground. So, rather than giving marks for what your gender is. And in the selection process, in the GDPI, the way we have designed it, we are able to make sure that, it's a level playing ground irrespective of what your academic background is, or your gender really will not matter so much.
Okay, great.
So I think that's good enough for people to get in. And see, your entrance already is, has various factors which kind of works for people with a certain academic background and does not work so much. So in a way, by having differential cutoff, we are kind of buffering that in. So when we say for rural and healthcare, we have kept a lower cutoff at 70. One of the reasons for that is agribusiness management students really don't, they're not planning for CAT from a very long time as such. And their sensibilities of the healthcare management students are also very different. So they may not be really the best performers on CAT, but in a healthcare management program, they excel. So we look at how students in the past have also scored on these tests, and that's how we have arrived at these cutoffs.
Okay, great. So you have mentioned about business, right? So there is a question related to that. So Chidambaran is asking, ma'am, what documents are required for like he's
work
in a family business, work experience for a family business during the interview.
Right. So if you're in the family business, let's say if you're a director or you hold a post, then there should be evidence for that. The marks in the interviewer is going to talk to you about work experience. So whether it's your own family business, if it's your family business or if you're working for somebody else, we are going to ask you for a appointment letter, and we're also going to ask you for a salary slip. if you have worked for somebody else. If it is your family business, then there should be evidence that you're part. I mean, some normally a document like a DIN number or some, a document which says that you are so and so in that company. That's not all. We also, in the interview, they are going to talk to you about what you did in your work experience. So just because I'm part of the family business, but I'm not done anything much, my interview will reflect that. So the marks for work experience is not only just number of months of experience. It is what have you learned, and how have you, what has it added to your overall profile. That will decide the marks for work experience. But you have to have these documents. Assuming that you have really worked over there, these are the documents.
Okay, great.
And the document list is there on the website.
Okay, ma'am. So
What you need to upload
I
it
can
with.
share the link for the document. So,
Yeah.
so going back to the programs, right? Let's say the role you have the healthcare and rural management, right? So, how are the placements for those kind of programs and compared to the conventional PGDM courses?
So I think I'm going to use last year's placements because this year's just kicked off. At Welingkar, there are two things that we have. We have one which is umbrella placement, and another is your program specific placements. So what is umbrella placement? So one of the fears that students usually have is, if I'm in the healthcare program, will I get to apply for the companies that come, let's say, for PGDM course, or that's their locus of comparison as such. So the umbrella placements is when any company comes, the placement opportunities are open to all the programs, unless a company specifies that I'm looking at only this particular type of a role. So let's say somebody wants to recruit for healthcare management, or they're in the healthcare business. If it's a marketing or a sales role, they'll be open to looking at all marketing and sales students. But they might say that we would first like to meet the healthcare students. All right. So when we say umbrella placements, everybody is open. The applications are open to all, and that really helps, because sometimes, rather, some of the companies are looking at diverse background. They are not so hung up on that as long as you meet their skill requirements and stuff. Then there are some companies which come with specific job roles, and they are looking at specific programs from which they want to recruit. So somebody might, if it's a retail company, they will say, okay, we will meet PGDM marketing, or we will meet media and entertainment students, but I want to first interview retail management. And then I will look at it. So that also happens. As far as the institute goes, we pitch all the programs at equal standing. And we've also seen that lot of companies are now open to looking at all the programs as long as the role fit is there.
So you have mentioned umbrella program placements, right? So is it true for like, does the placement happen? Is the placement process same for Bangalore and Mumbai campus, or are they separate placement process?
Okay, so Mumbai and Bangalore campus placements happens independently.
Okay.
So the Mumbai, the companies which come to Mumbai, they look at the Mumbai students, and there are a separate set of companies that come to Bangalore. But there are some companies, when they come to us, they are looking at Pan India, so they are willing to also go to Bangalore, and vice versa. Okay. And I think one thing I would like to mention over here, Srikanth, is, without directly comparing us with any other business school, and since we are, looking at numbers and placements and packages, the deviation it's not like a huge chasm. Like, it's not like Welingkar Mumbai placements are on top of the hill, and Welingkar Bangalore is at the bottom of the hill. It's not like that. In some sectors, they're almost the same. In some sectors, there will be some difference. but it's not like huge. All right. So let's say last year, the average package in Mumbai was about 12, 12.5. And in Bangalore, it was somewhere in the range of 10.75 to 11. So if you look at that, or 10.5, so it's not like, there is a gap of some 5-6 lakhs in the average. And why do I refer to average or median over here is when you take a look at Mumbai campus, we have 720 students. So when I say median, there's no 360. The top 360 students have got around 12.5 lakhs. That's the intake of several institutions. And Bangalore has got 270. So when they are also, having a median at around 10.5 or 11, that's close to, 150 top students over there. So I think that is something that is positive about brand Welingkar. That both Mumbai and Bangalore have the ROI is damn good, and the packages are, I think, comparable to some good business schools.
Correct. That's very good to hear, ma'am. So you have mentioned about ROI, right? So we know one part of the ROI equation, which is the placement. So what is the other part?
Yeah.
Like what is the fees? What is the fee structure like for Welingkar?
So the fee structure, the total fees at Welingkar is 13 lakhs, which is the tuition fees and everything. It doesn't include the hostel fees. Hostel fees, you can add a couple of lakhs to that. Bangalore, we provide apartments which are compulsory for students to take. Mumbai, we do have hostel facilities, but we don't have hostel facilities for 100% of the students, but we assist them with placement. So, but that's generally the range. So you can say the fees is absolute fees that goes out for tuition and on-campus requirements for 2 years, 13 lakhs.
Okay, great. So coming back to a few questions, right? So Pratyay Roy is asking, does summer internship help during the application process for business schools?
Yeah, you mean to say if they've done a summer internship in their undergraduate years?
Correct.
Most certainly. See, there is a place on the application which says full-time work experience, and then it says anything else that you want to mention. And these are the places that we should be a little creative, and we should actively mention all these things, because then it gets highlighted in the interview and it helps in the score that you get in your interview. You won't get marks for it as work experience, but you will certainly you should leverage that in your application, and you should, say what has been the learning from that, and make sure that you mention it to the interviewer and get them to notice it.
Correct. So going back to what postgrad, right? So besides preparing for other examinations, are there any other things that the students have to do in this?
So I think apart from preparing for other exams, I would recommend two things that they can do. Number one, start practicing on your communication skills, or how you are going to respond to various questions, because this is the time. I think you still have a month before. I'm not sure if the CAT results are going to come out early or something, but you certainly have a month on hand. So it's kind of a good exercise to put down. Tell me something about yourself. Why you want to do management? You have a little a kind of a free zone right now. So use that to creatively write your responses. Make your list of B schools, which could be your probable application spots, and see how you may want to respond to usually the kind of questions that they ask. Second thing is, a lot of students keep asking about profile building. How do I do that? So Rome was not built in a day. Your profile is not going to get built in a month or two, but certainly show intent. So, for example, if you are, even if let's say if you're a plain simple physics or commerce or any other graduate, and you're really interested in number crunching, analytics, and you enjoy it, and that's a program that you want to apply to, maybe a good idea to go and take a couple of online courses and acclimatize yourself with the language and the lingo of of that zone. So, if you're talking analytics, what is this Python that people keep talking about? What is this R, and what is deep learning? What is machine learning? What is AI? What is generative AI? What is happening in that space? What is the new news in this space? Because questions can come from that. If you say I'm interested in this, they might just turn around and ask you, do you know somebody just got fired by a machine recently and then got reinstated? Have you heard about this? How do you think this will happen in the future? So you can't be completely novice. So use this time to read up about, a GK, what's happening. Technology is one area. What are the different developments? The second one I would recommend is sustainability. That's also becoming a very important topic for corporates. So a lot of group discussions and at least a couple of interview questions you can anticipate around environment and how are we going to respond to so many challenges that are happening in the sustainability space. So build your knowledge on that, because you may not have done that so consistently in the last few months.
So speaking about profile, right? So does the panel look at the depth of a person, or like the width of knowledge or the depth of knowledge? So what should the candidates concentrate on? Should they try to pick up new concept, new things happening around, or should they work on what they already know but in a deeper way?
So what you already know in a deeper way will come where you have, see, if you have work experience, then you can okay, let's break this up. If you're going to have about 20 minutes or half an hour of an interview, which normally is the time period for an interview, let's break that up smartly. They're going to ask you about why you want to do management, or why this institute, or why such a program. That should take about say 5 to 7 minutes. The next 5 to 7 minutes are going to be about your, let's say, if you have work experience. So their depth is expected. If you say that I've worked in an organization for 2.5 years, and if it is in a sector, which has the potential, which is relevant to where you're applying, then you're expected to have some in-depth knowledge on that. Let's say if you're a fresher, you don't have experience. Then in that case, whatever you have learned, you just come out of college. So if you're an engineer, you're a BCom, you're a physics grad, you're a economics grad, you're expected to know your concepts, the principles, well. That is an area where depth is expected. About, developments that are happening around us, whether it's in technology or whether it's an area that you want to get into, you're not expected to have depth, but you're certainly expected to have appreciation, which is you should know what is happening around. So give me all the tenets of, how a program is written and all of that is not going to be asked if you don't have that kind of a background. But if that is your strength, which you have exhibited, saying that, I'm an engineer, this is the kind of code I've done, and this is what comprises my work experience, then you have to anticipate depth questions. So you will get what you have, you will reap what you have sown. So if you sow work experience and show all those things in your resume, you will be expected to have depth. And we don't expect any student to have perfect answers for futuristic questions. What is really looked at is what is the approach you're taking.
Yeah, great, man. So let's take one more question. So Rupam is asking, 70. She has 70 to 80 percentile in CAT, and she has 1 year of experience in HR. Which college should she apply for HR program? So let's try to generalize this question, right? So how does, let's say, a candidate is interested in a particular program or anything? How can he or she know what college to apply, and what is the shortlisting criteria for the college?
So if you're going to get 70 to 80, then you have to go and look at colleges which offered you an interview at that percentile last year. Okay, so either they are going to lower their cutoff, in, if it helps you. Otherwise, I mean, if it goes unlikely that will go higher. So 70 to 80 in the last couple of years, whichever college has called people for an interview are likely to call you for an interview this year also. So go and prepare. I mean, I think a lot of portals do put up. I don't know whether Cracku does it, but a lot of portals do. You all must be doing it, Shrikant, I think.
Put up the like college that they can
Yeah,
expect for a personnel kind of page for
correct.
the
So I
jobs.
think take a look at what's mentioned on Cracku and see what is the cutoff percentile that was where people received a call last year, and make a list of those institutes. Go and study them and see what is it beyond percentile that these people are looking for.
Okay, right. So that brings the question, right? Should the student self cut off themselves, right? Let's say institute had the cutoff for an institute had gone to, let's say, 78 or something last year, but if they score 75, should they like not try applying for that institute, or should they self cut off?
So I think there are two ways to look at it. If the college is saying that this is a hard stop, they're saying that, if you don't get a 75, then we are not going to proceed even if you have a great profile. Then no point applying over there. Okay? Unless you're looking for an experience of an interview. But if they say no, we are okay, irrespective, then in that case, just go ahead and apply. Because there are some institutions, like I think there are some institutions under XLRI where they, I think if your profile is very good and your cutoff is somewhere borderline, I think they try and look at other things that you have done, which is, I just heard, maybe your general knowledge, or maybe your the way you have responded in your essays or something. So you look at how are they evaluating the profile. And if they have said that this is not a hard and fast cutoff, like we mentioned a hard and fast cutoff, we said even if you, if you have a great profile, if you don't meet a cutoff of 70, for example, in certain program, then the candidature is gone. So if you know your percentile already, then you can do a self cutoff in such cases.
So speaking of the cutoffs, right? So are the cutoffs for Welingkar hard, or are they soft cutoffs?
No, they are hard.
Okay. So that is 80, 80 for
So
Mumbai and 75 for Bangalore, right?
No, 85. 75 for Bangalore, correct.
75 for Bangalore
And
and 80
what
for
we,
Mumbai.
yes. So even if you have a great profile, the advantage of doing your, applying in the first phase is you get a call based on your profile. So let's say, you've bombed your CAT and CMAT is something you're going to take. Let's take that other extreme. So I would say go and apply in anticipation of a good CMAT, because based on your profile, you will be interviewed. And the moment the CMAT results come out, the results will be put up. So you have an advantage of, going with a positive mindset. And another thing which we do at Welingkar is the interview panel is not provided with the entrance test score at all, because that is not something which we want them to look through when they are interviewing the candidate.
So I think I see some certain positives, right? So with Welingkar selection process, where they have a level playing field for across all the candidates, and this is one more point that you have mentioned, that the candidates, the panel doesn't know about the percentiles or scores of the candidates, right?
Correct.
So that is very interesting to listen, right? And one more question, you have mentioned about phases of application, right? So when are the dates for those phases of application for Welingkar?
Yeah, the first phase applications have already opened up. We opened up on 17th of November, and the last date to apply is January 10th. 10th of January. We'll come up with a short list once the XAT results are out, because first phase of the phase 1 interviews will be held in the month of February or first week of March. Last year also we held the interviews in the month of February and early March. So I think same thing we'll do this year also. And we'll be having only offline interviews, no online interviews. We'll be conducting it in Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Bangalore, and also Indore is something we'll do. We'll repeat this year, I think. Last year we did it.
Okay. So,
Well, sorry.
yeah. So, will phase 2 happen depending on the phase 1, or is it will it happen compulsorily, or it is contingent on the
So it
selections
will
in the?
surely happen. So there are two clear-cut phases. The first phase is for students who have applied through CAT and XAT and GMAT. And the second phase will happen. We'll be putting up the results also of the first phase in the month of early April, you can say. Phase 2 applications will open somewhere in the month of February. And this is primarily for students who are going to give CMAT and maybe ATMA exams. Now, if there is some student who has missed out applying from phase 1 with CAT or XAT scores and wants to apply, they can also apply in phase 2. That's not a problem. So we know from past experience that there will be, there are seats usually for phase 2 also. We don't otherwise will not conduct.
Okay. So we have different. So you have mentioned about cutoffs for CAT, right? So what are the cutoff for ZAT, CMAT exams for Welingkar?
CAT and XAT usually our cutoff is the same.
And for CMAT, no?
CMAT last year it was 85, which is higher than CAT and XAT, at least by 5 percentile minimum.
Okay, great. So going back to the CAT, what to do after CAT, right? So besides besides preparing for the exam, profile building, is there anything else that the students be looking for, or what will be your advice?
See, my advice is if you're finished doing all this and you still have time on hand, look at maybe, either doing something which can bring in a wow factor. So last year, I know there was a student of ours who's currently in my class. He was very keen on sustainability or doing something which is good for the environment. So what he did was he went and found a company which makes products which are very environment friendly, and he volunteered to sell those products for them. So I think you can do something like that, because then there can be some insightful moments for you also. If you're interested in finance, then pick up something and maybe volunteer to do something where you will learn. That might be a good thing to do, investing your time by actually getting your hands dirty and doing the actual work.
Okay, so you have mentioned like picking up a course or anything, right? So does certification in any form help during the interview process or in profile building?
Yeah, so correct. Yeah, all the GD and PI is about 40 marks. So in that, it is certainly going to help you in your overall profile. How say for example, normally one question is what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, or how would you like to improve? So when you're saying, I am somebody who has leadership qualities, or I am somebody who takes initiative, how do you show initiative? It just can't be my word against yours. So you can say, I had this time and this is how I utilized it. Or I wanted to get into this particular program. I wanted to, get into the retail program, or I wanted to know a little more about design, and I'm more interested in the business design program. So I went online and got did a short course on it to get myself oriented to that. That is initiative. I think those kind of things will make your overall interview very rich, and the authenticity of whatever you're saying will also improve. So you can try and do those things. So add some wow factors. to your resume. Maybe I'm a little influenced by this Three Idiots movie. There is a scene in the movie where those three boys, they come in late and they write the exam, and they take more time, and the guy who's collecting the papers is even if you're the president's son, I'm not going to, prime minister's son or whatever, I'm not going to take this from you. So I said, do you know who we are? And he mixes up all the papers. It's a case study on probability. So when you mix up all your profiles, how do you stand out? So among all those MBA students, if everybody is going to come super prepared with standard answers, and an interviewer roughly meets about 15, at least 10 to 15 candidates in a day. If you're going to sound like a clone, I might as well interview your AI avatar. Just I think focus on standing out in ways which are unique, because then that is what the interviewers are going to look at, and try and see how differentiated you are, or your intent behind doing something, and that will help you stand out in your interview. Because some of the things, like I've said, which is doing a course online, is probably something that students are already doing. While that will add an edge to your overall profile, I don't know whether it's a wow factor. So a wow factor will really come from doing something special, whatever you're good at and whatever you like to do. And the best way to identify that, to do, or rather add that wow factor, is go out there and do something for the community, volunteer to do something for the kind of space, for the people that you want to work in the future. Or write a research paper, which is a little tough, which is not something that everybody will do. Okay, so that is something that you can do. You can go ahead there and research 5 or 6 companies of the sector that you're really interested in, identify what their challenges are, and write a paper on it, and publish it or carry it with you in an interview and say, this is the kind of homework, because I'm a detail-oriented person. Because then that brings in, wow, this is not something that every second, third person invests energy in.
Correct. So I think to summarize, right? So maybe try to differentiate from the crowd. So by doing something that really interests you, or something that the panel might be interested in. So can we do something like that?
Panel may be interested, we don't know, but something that interests you and that accentuates your own personality.
Great. So let's say a student who has gotten a good percentage, right? So let's say 95 plus or something. How should he go around selecting the colleges? So he has, and so we have previously discussed a lower percentage where the options might be less for a particular student, but when the student has a lot of options and all, how does one shortlist what are the factors that the student should look in a college to apply for the college?
So I think if a student has a good percentile and has multiple campuses to choose from, considerations could also be on the basis of their personal limitations, sometimes the fees or anything of that sort. Let's put aside the financial bit, and let's say that how am I going to choose? So number one, I will certainly say that pick a program that you really resonate with, and not necessarily one that everybody is applying to. So if, let us say, if you get a PGDM core in a particular college, and you get a technology related core program in Welingkar, and if you know that this is the kind of future, or these are the type of organizations that I want to work with, and the curriculum or the experiences and the exposure that this college in that space is good, and then go for that. Okay, while placement is one parameter that normally students look for, and they're not completely wrong, because they are also making an investment of 2 years of their time apart from the fees. That is why I would recommend that pick a program where you foresee that, yes, this is an area I am really interested in. And don't go only by hearsay. Talk to a few alumni or talk to a few people in that sector to go and see what is the kind of future that exists in that area, and whether that is something that you really like. Like, I know a lot of students who are not friends with technology, and they're like, while they use it, but that's not really where they find their mojo, or that's not the place where they get their energy. They want to do something else completely. So absolutely fine. So you might get a space in a particular program. You don't have to feel pressured to go into that. Number two, I think you can try to look at the city or the place where the campus is. And if it is a place which offers you good connections, connect with industry, connect with a lot of people other than the academic and the peer circle, then I think that is another very important aspect, especially today, where you are not only what happens in the classroom, but out of classroom experiences, opportunities. Number three, apart from teaching and learning in the class, uh, is the college also providing you opportunities to participate in competitions? Do they encourage you to, go and represent yourself on different forums? Do they also create forums for students to compete? Because this 2 years is really a churning of your overall personality. So that journey also matters. So look at these two, three key aspects, and look at the consistency with which the campus has been growing. Okay, and I think that should be fine. And if very honestly, usually you will find a cluster of institutions. You might end up with a list of 3 or 4, and you might be in a dilemma. I mean, all three appear to be alike. So these could be those differentiating factors. So do I want to be in a city which is a little cut off, even if it is in the top, whatever? Or would I want to? So those are some very personal. That's why right at the beginning I said there are some personal considerations also, which end up playing a role. And you should be very clear that, are you willing to move out of your own city? Are you willing to, are you that kind of a person? Do you want to experience kind of getting out of your comfort zone? Those factors also play a role.
So, ma'am, you have mentioned about two things. I think one is the opportunities being provided by the college, and another thing is the financial consideration, let's say.
Correct.
So on these two fronts, right? So how does Welingkar help the students? So first, let us touch point on the financial thing, and then different activities and different opportunities that Welingkar provides to its students.
Yeah. So on the financial aspect, number one, Welingkar is there on the SBI Scholar Institute list. So as a State Bank of India, they provide you loans where I don't think you are required to provide any collaterals as such, and you can start repaying after 2 years. Similarly, we also are partnered with a couple of banks which help the student to get their loans processed fast if they want to go for loans. We also have scholarships. I also told you about the tuition fee waiver scheme. So if you fit into that category and you get into the merit zone, then you don't have to pay any fees, except for your hostels and those kind of things. We have 3 scholarships. One is the Rinty Banerjee Scholarship. Dr. Rinty Banerjee was a very intelligent person with IIT Bombay, and in the area of healthcare. So this is for MBBS doctors who want to do their healthcare management program. We have a scholarship for them. We have a scholarship by a company called Sun Jewels. They have named it after a professor at Welingkar who passed away. This is Dr. Gondlekar, or Dr. G Scholarship. This is for students who want to take admission into a business design, or want to into the business design program. And then we have a scholarship that is set up by the Alumni Association. And this changes year on year. And there's part funding for your education at Welingkar. So these are some of the things that we do provide in terms of financial support.
Great.
As far as,
So let's touch on the opportunities, other opportunities that the students get to do at Welingkar.
Yeah. So in terms of other opportunities, see, right at the beginning, we have the foundation program, and there you have an industry immersion. So students are really put out into the field, and it's a designed program. Let's say if you are in, you're taking up analytics, you would go and meet an organization or meet people in that space. So right at the beginning, you have some kind of an orientation of what happens in the real world out there. The whole focus of Welingkar is try and see how much of hands-on experience you can give the students. So we have another program called the Global Citizen Leader Program, wherein we procure live projects from industry and all the students get to be a part of this. And they are working on a live project across 2 trimesters, and this is part of their coursework. So it's not like you end up just, the beauty of this Global Citizen Leader Program is that it was originally designed in partnership with Center for Creative Leadership, which is a world-known company which trains Fortune 500 companies. So what we do is, what students are expected to do is not just research and make a presentation, but they are given a hands-on experience of prototyping and actually testing out solutions. And these could be service-oriented, this could be product-based. So there is a lot of self-belief that gets built in this whole thing. And even if you are a complete fresher, you are getting almost 6 months of live project exposure. Then you, of course, have the summer internship. And then one big piece which we've been putting together in the last, or rather which has been working really well in the last 4 to 5 years, is our focus on innovation and entrepreneurship, but more so innovation. So we actively participate in the Smart India hackathons that are conducted by the Government of India, but we also have our internal hackathons. And in different segments, it could be healthcare, it could be analytics, it could be rural, whatever. But so we identify challenges, and students are actually put through, a hackathon where they have to build solutions for this. And in this, we bring in mentors from the industry as well. And in the foundation also, close to 100, I would say, about in the 3 weeks that they're there, they easily beat about 30 to 40 people from industry before they take on their course. So I think all this in the first year itself gives them a very good insight of what the real world wants from them. And then, of course, in the second year, you're working on some capstone projects. There are a lot of roundtables that the institute organizes. We take sectoral roundtables. So we would invite, say, 25 to 40 people from the banking and finance sector, and they would be discussing what are the new challenges, and students get to sit into these kind of discussions. And they will be telling students as to what are the new things that we are expecting from the generation which is going to come into this particular sector. We have a large alumni base, not only in India, but also placed internationally. So we bring in something called Alumni Insights, where people from different sectors come to the campus, alumni, and they share what is really expected by the industry, what are the challenges that you are likely to face, how you should be preparing for it. So a lot of real-time industry engagement happens. We are very big on competitions. We encourage a lot of our students to go and participate in competitions pan-India and some internationally also, because we feel it's very important to get out of your own comfort home zone and spar with other students in a healthy environment. And that's very, very, very important for us here at P School. So I think when you provide an engagement with industry, alumni, other B school students in a competitive environment. I think we are shaping them up. And this is a feedback that I always get from alumni, that you all fried our brains and you kind of stretched us to talk to unknown people, sit through a lot of new things, and we would wonder, do we really need all this? But there are so many of these things which are paying us rich dividends now that we are working in the industry, which is beyond what we teach or your conceptual knowledge. These are the things which are really life skills for the corporate world, so to say.
Thank you, ma'am, for those insights and detailed description of the activities of Welingkar. Right. I think we can conclude today's session. So, are there any
Sure.
parting remarks for our students?
I think the parting remark is going to be get up and dust the cat mood and get on to preparing for the tests and the opportunities that are lined up for the future.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think our students will could gather some information on the application process and things that they should be
Sure.
considering at this point of time. And thank you very much for spending your time. And we
Thank
hope to
you.
see you
Thank you
back
very much,
on the
Vikrant.
channel. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
sure.